So as promised, Birthe is now going to take you through a project that we talked about the last time. Wouldn't it be great to spin up a project for the digital analytical methods model that was just released first quarter by the Allotrope product team. And so, in our theme of we talk about things and then not too long amount of time we actually learning about it. So here's an example of one of those ideas that was an idea at a workshop last year, and now it's a real project. So that built to Birthe.
Thank you, Vinny. Yeah, so I thought it would be useful just to show a little bit about, how ideas they turn into projects. So as I said, the Pistoia Alliance, we are completely member-led. All our projects are ideas originating from the members, and we have like a template that members can submit these ideas. So once we get an idea, we then start working. I guess we go out there to ensure that this is truly not just a one company problem, but that there are other companies with similar issues, and that we can work towards scoping out what a common solution would look like. So we create like these communities of interest. We do roundtables. And then we see if we can start scoping out, what is the project, who's going to help support the project, because within the Pistoia Alliance, we are not for profit. We don't earn any money from the projects, but we do need to fund, all the machinery. We need to fund the infrastructure, the PMs. And we need to pay for vendors sometimes. So that's why the projects, they need to be funded. So it's shared funding amongst the members that join the steering committee. And then they sort of set the direction, where are we going, what are we going, which use cases are we going to work with. So that's sort of the advantage of being part of the steering committee. We usually aim for 5 members to join in for a particular project. So that's sort of the expectation or what we aim for. And then once the projects are running, we might do extend it to different phases. And once the project is completed, sometimes, the members, they stay on as communities of experts, and sort of this is sort of how it could evolve. So the digital analytical method idea came from the Allotrope meeting last year, right? With a very well documented problem statement, that methods, they're kept manually in semi-templated documents. They're very difficult to transfer. There is a lot of rekeying of all the parameters, and that inevitably is going to result in low reproducibility, because that there are human mistakes, and the details are lost in translation, or doing interpretation, or doing transfer. So the future state really is that we want to shift, how we look at methods. They are no longer documents; they're going to be digital, machine-readable instructions that can be exchanged between systems, between instruments, without a human intervention. So that's sort of what we need to work towards, this future state. So what do we mean by a digital analytical methods? Well, we mean that it's a full versioned machine and human readable set of instructions that you need in order to execute and plan your analysis. And of course, it's designed to meet fair principles, so that you can search for it, that you can find it, you can reuse it, and share it. And I think also a very key point is that the method needs to have the same structure and context as the results that you are capturing, so that you can So the two are interoperable by design. So that's very important. And then you can now start redefining what is method transfer. You can start getting to that future state where it's communication between systems. And obviously that leads, into enable use cases like predictive AI automation and these things. So this project fits very well in with the Pistoia Alliance. We did run the methods database or the methods hub project quite a few years ago, and I had the pleasure of working with Vinny and Ben and Heiko and Wolfgang on this methods database project. So here we took 55 key HPLC UV execution parameters and developed a data model and converter so that we could exchange these execution parameters between two different CDS systems and then automatic execute and run these methods. I mean, that was a really great project, and I think we saw that there is a great gap for execution parameters and these types of methods. We want to sort of extend this digital analytical methods beyond what we did with the methods database project, because we want to also extend beyond execution parameters now to include materials, product specification, sample prep, system suitability, calculations, external references, and these things as well. So it's going to be a more complete representation of the method. I don't know, I think Joachim mentioned some legacy ADF adapters yesterday. I don't know if this was one of them, but yeah, it was an ADF adapter. But of course, a lot of things has changed since then. Now we have ASM. So this digital analytical method that we want to work with here is going to be an ASM. Yeah. So what do we want to do with this project? Well, the first thing is that we want to sort of develop a reusable ASM schema for this method that we have chosen. And so we have started off with a relatively or a moderately complex method, the UV-Vis method, and Ben has actually now made a draft. Vinny had it on his slide yesterday, a draft of this model, and extended the AFO where needed so that we can have these ASM schema patterns. The project is going to really focus on proving that we can now implement this in a real lab execution system, ELS or ELN or LES system, so that we can prove that it can actually be executed. It can be linked to the results. It's not just something on paper, but we can actually implement this in real world lab systems. And then we can look at that ASM schema and see if we can use that for other methods as well. So what are the use cases that we think we will be working with? Well, so we want to approach this as a bit of a flexible journey, right? So that you can pick use cases that will give you immediate benefits, right? So you can pick sort of where you sort of align with your digital maturity and so on. So the easiest one is, of course, there is a lot of advantage in having consistent vocabulary and consistent terms. So that would be sort of the first step, and then obviously then it would be quite easy to have a centralized repository where you can search for these methods, where you can share them as well. moving to where you have your structured methods and your linked results, then you can now start doing things as trend analysis and on-demand analysis of these methods. And you can then start looking at historical methods. You can reuse them, you can optimize them in an automated method development style. You can transfer these. So again, reimagining how we are transferring methods to now be communication between instruments, software, and then finally you unlock or you enable AI insights, so you can start doing a predictive analysis and these types of use cases. So I think the main point here is that it's it's a progression across these different use cases, and if you want to focus on execution parameters still, there is an option to do that, right? Or if you want to look at the full method as we have it now, that's also an option. So there is a bit of a flexible approach to this. So as I mentioned, Ben has already done a little bit of pre-work with the working group, and we now have a draft ASM methods for this test attribute, which is, I said it was a UV-Vis method, so it's a purity, for example, and then you can link it to the product specification and acceptance criteria, and you can see here what's inside the method. There's some metadata to manage the life cycle, materials, system requirements. There are the sequential steps you have in your procedure, the calculations, references, version log, and so on. And you have a link to the method here that's available for members to start testing. These are some screenshots, so you can see that Ben actually did build it. So here you can see the test attribute is purity. So you have your acceptance criteria for impurity A, for example, which is a numerical value and a unit. You can have acceptance criteria for your molecular weight impurities as well. Here we have for management of the metadata. So the idea is that will be sort of a drop-down list. So you can say, okay, what's the status of this method? Is it obsolete? Is it effective? Is it rejected? Or where is it in sort of the method life cycle? And you can see there is a lot of different master data values that you can add and can follow your method here. Same for materials. You can put in your the material, the catalog number, the supplier, certification, and then you have a drop-down list as well to select what is the role of this material. Is it a buffer? Is it a reagent? Is it a standard? Is it a solvent? And you can add all these to the schema as well here. You have system requirements as well, because obviously you need to have a system that can carry out this. That would need to have the capability to carry out this run. So you have the UV detector with a specific wave length and a specific cell path length as well. So these things that have been modeled in here. There is the sequential procedure, so you can define all the procedural steps that you need to take in order to run this method. And you can also see that you have linked that to, for example, how do you store this this buffer or this sample. Ben made this one. I feel like I'm not doing justice to it. So if you want to add something, Ben, please, please do. Okay, so the idea is now up on our ideas pipeline on our website, where you can go and have a look. But more importantly, we want you to get involved. We want to kick off this project here. starting out to demonstrate and prove that, we can actually execute this in real lab systems. So if you are interested, please, please let me know. And then I guess it's also, a call for vendors to get engaged. We want to implement this method in an ELN or an LES, and then, there could be several ways to do that. This is just an example. It could be some light mapping, but just so configuring that workflow and mapping and translating that ASM into fields, to drop downs or things that can be executed, and then linking that with the results from that method. So as I said, it's a really call to action to get the vendors involved. We are not looking for long-term commitment or you to develop any products or full integration. We just want to show that, this can be configured, it can be imported, it can be executed, we can link it to the data. So I think it's a great opportunity to now come and work with the pharma members, very similar to we did with the methods database, where we transferred these execution parameters across 2 different pharma companies. We already have 2 companies that is involved. As we said, ideally we have 3. We look for 5. So we are looking for 1 more companies to join. And as I said, some vendors. And the pre-work was done with an Allotrope in a working group. And these are just some of the members that helped build the draft ASM schema that I showed. So yeah, if you are interested, please get in touch.